Sometimes in lawn care, it's really easy to overcomplicate things. Trust me, I know from experience. But here on Budget Lawns, I like to dumb it down just a bit for you. I want to make it much simpler than you might think it is. So I hope what we talk about today here on the channel helps you out. If it does, give me a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe if you haven't already. I did a video a couple years back. It was one where I gave you just one simple thing to remember: to water your lawn the right way, and it was the acronym DIET, D-I-E-T. The D standing for water deep, a half an inch to an inch of water at a time, not real shallow waterings. The I for infrequently, don't water all the time. Water infrequently. Each time you water, lay down a half an inch to an inch of water. That is a much better way to water your lawn. The E, water early. Early in the morning is your best option. If you can't do that, early in the evening is your second best option. And T for tuna can. Use a tuna can to measure how much you're getting. A tuna can is about an inch deep, and you need an inch of water on your lawn every single week. So if you remember DIET, deep, infrequently, early, and a tuna can, you will water your lawn correctly every single time. I'll leave a link down below for that video so you can check the whole thing out if you want to. But for this video, I want to talk about spring lawn care. And I rolled out of bed this morning and I thought, here's a great acronym to remind folks of the 3 things they must do in spring to their lawns, especially if you have Bermuda grass. Because if you have Bermuda grass, you're going to see a lot of videos out there telling you to do a whole host of other things, from dethatching to aeration to perhaps maybe a little overseeding in the spring for those people who prefer to do it then and not in the fall. But for Bermuda grass, it's a pretty simple formula. 3 things. And here's the acronym I want you to remember. And it's real easy. In the spring, the sun starts getting much brighter and hotter than it is through the winter time. And we have to do one thing to make sure we keep our skin safe. And if you do these 3 things, you will be safe as far as your lawn care tasks go every single spring. Just remember, SPF. SPF 15. I like to get a little tan. Some people will load up with the 60 or the 50 or whatever it is. But just remember, for your spring lawn care tasks, SPF. Let's go through each one of them. The S for Bermuda grass lawns, scalp. Scalp your Bermuda grass lawn. Take all that dead, brown, dormant material off of the top. Lower your mower as low as it'll go. Bag up all the clippings and remove them from your lawn. You want to open that soil up to the sunshine, airflow, water, all the nutrients that you need to wake it up from its winter slumber and come back out beautiful and green again. Now, when should you do that? I like to wait until after my last forecasted frost or freeze, which is usually around the middle of April. But make no mistake, I will keep a close eye on that forecast, and if it is trending warm towards the latter part of March or beginning of April, I might do it early. If it's cold, I might do it later. But typically, I try to time it around that last frost or freeze for the year, and I will scalp that sucker down as low as it will go. So remember, S for scalp. P for pre-emergent. What is a pre-emergent? A pre-emergent is a product you put on your lawn to prevent weeds from coming up. Not to kill them, to prevent them. When do you want to put a pre-emergent down on your lawn in the spring? Well, for me, I keep it on a regular schedule, which is September, January, middle part of March, latter part of March. But if you really want to get more specific about it, you need to get a pre-emergent on your lawn in the spring as those soil temperatures are getting between 50 and 55 degrees, especially that 55 degree mark. Anything after that, you're going to start seeing those warm season weeds like crabgrass and others you don't want in your lawn starting to germinate. And if you don't get that pre-emergent down before then, you're going to have a problem with those in your lawn. So just keep a close eye on those temperatures. If you really want to nail it down, you can do that with a soil thermometer. You can do it with certain websites online that will give you averages of what your soil temperatures are in your area. But if you get a pre-emergent down before those approach the 50 to 55 degree mark, you're going to do a great job at preventing most weeds in your lawn to kick off the lawn season. I did a video a couple weeks ago with a little more information on this, how you just can't expect to be weed free at all times. I'll leave a link to it down below with that diet video as well, so you could check it out. All right, we've knocked out the S, the P, and the F. What's the final of the 3 steps that you have to make sure you take care of in your Bermuda grass lawn in spring? The F is for fertilization. You gotta give the lawn some food, okay? You need to fertilize it in the spring. Now, when should you do that? Should you do it before you scout, right after you scout? Here's when you gotta make sure you time this one just right. Because if you don't time your fertilization right, you're just throwing money down the drain. You need to wait until you have scalped and that grass has greened up to about 75 to 80% is where I like to do it. When my lawn has greened up to about 75 to 80% in spring, I will throw down the first round of fertilizer. Sometimes that's around the first part of May. Typically around the first week of May is when I get my first round of fertilizer down. I want most of it to be green because then it's actually feeding something. If you're throwing a bunch of fertilizer on a dormant Bermuda grass lawn, it is doing nothing. There is nothing there to use that fertilizer that you've just spent your hard-earned money on and your time to spread it on the lawn. So wait to fertilize once your Bermuda grass has greened up to about 75 to 80%. I'm telling you folks, there's a lot of other things you can do in the spring. Depends on what grass type you have, but if you have Bermuda grass, just remember SPF, scalp, pre-emergent, fertilize, those 3 things, and I guarantee it, you will start your lawn season off on the right foot. Okay? Now, what other things can you do as you move further into the season? We'll talk about those things here on Budget Lawns, from lawn leveling to landscaping, all sorts of things that we can touch on, but for now, just remember SPF. Now, you may be wondering, is the SPF in order? Okay, I kind of broke down the timing for each one of those. Just take into account the way I described it, because SPF might not necessarily be in order for you. Depends on your location and typical climate. All right, but that's going to wrap it up for this edition of Budget Lawns. I appreciate you being here as always. If it weren't for you, it would just be me standing here in my garage talking to a GoPro camera sitting on top of a cheap tripod. So I appreciate you tuning in and making this more fun and worth it for me. I enjoy getting to know each and every one of you, and I hope to see you next time.